All right, it is Wednesday, and I am joined by not one, but two View Legal Eagles.
Yes.
I'm very excited to have this.
Because we're lawyers.
That's
exactly.
right.
I never heard that.
Right, exactly.
Yes, lawyers,
exactly.
prosecutors, we got it all here. Very excited to have Star Jones and Sonny Hostin here on Behind the Table. Thank you.
This is fun. Now, I mean, this is a different kind of table than we're
Right?
used to, right?
Yeah.
Sis? But this is fun.
It's not bad.
This is fun.
It's
This
not
is
bad.
fun.
This is your second time in the new studio. What is it? Does it still feel like you're on The View when you're here, or does it all feel different?
Well, anytime I see the girls,
Right.
that makes it the view.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest with you, I'm very much like Joy. Remember, she's my original sister.
Right.
Yeah.
We need a passport to come this far downtown.
Yeah, it's a lot.
This is, I'm like, we need real ID up in this piece to come all the way down here, because I know Joy is giving y'all a hard time.
I will tell
He
you.
is giving us a hard time.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
we don't come downtown.
No,
baby.
there was a definite conversation about, like, quietly, like, think Joy's going to actually come downtown, or you think she's going to be like, no, I'm good, we're moving on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm telling you, my sister, we don't, below 57th Street, we get hives. So
No, I get it.
that's why we're trying.
And I love it down here.
Of course you do, because you that funky kind of downtown chick, which is what makes you sunny.
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Me and Joy are old and curmudgeon-y.
All right, sorry, I have a small bone to pick. I got to talk about
ready.
this. I want to talk about the Daytime Emmys.
Yeah.
Last year at the Daytime Emmys, I was there. Sonny was there. I think Sarah and Alyssa were there.
Sarah didn't
go. It was
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
And
we were seated right in the front.
right in the front. It was
Front
very
row
exciting.
table.
We
Yep.
were nominated for Best Show and for Best Hosts.
Yep.
And we ran into you beforehand, and we found out that you were presenting
Yep.
for
Best host.
Best host, I think,
And
right?
so, let me guess.
And then you, when you were presenting it, you looked at me and you winked.
Yeah, so at first I'm like, okay, Star Jones, they're looking for a TV moment.
Yes.
How cool would it be to have Star Jones give the
Yes.
View hosts an Emmy Award?
Yes.
Yes.
And so I thought
We started to believe.
we had it.
Yeah,
And lo and behold,
We
I
did
called
not.
somebody else's name.
You did.
you did.
Were you surprised?
But you winked at us.
Yeah, first
You
of
winked
all,
at-
What was
let
the
me
wink
give
for?
you the
You
background.
opened the envelope,
And you
winked at us,
winked.
and you said another name, and it was a little bit like a
Well, the real reason that I
It
winked
jacked
was
me up.
because your co-host and my dear friend
Yes.
of 20-some-odd years,
Joy Behar.
Joy Behar, texted me before the moment to say, just read our names. Nobody will ever know. I am not lying.
All right.
Okay?
Oh, Joy
Because-
Behar.
She wanted a Moonlight La La Land
I
moment.
was
Yeah.
like, Behar is hilarious,
Yep.
okay? Now, I'm sitting in the front row. They gave me front row
Yes.
center.
As they
This
should.
was my very first time being nominated as the host of Divorce Court
Yes.
for Best TV Personality. I thought, we're going to have a moment. I'm going to give it to the View
Yes,
girls. I'm
all
going
the
to
things.
win.
Mm-hmm.
None of that happened.
Nothing, right?
But
And
we look good. I don't care.
I don't know. My reaction wasn't good.
Yeah, no.
Did you have a funky reaction?
Yeah, Sonny had it like,
You-
okay.
you
I
had
went, oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You had an Angela Bassett
I
reaction.
did.
Yeah. I had practiced my
Sure.
I practiced too, but it fell apart.
Yeah, you have to listen.
I'm a bad loser.
Wait, I have to tell you
Jeez.
something. Having been an original co-host on The View,
Mm-hmm.
I got resting bitch face down to a science.
Resting View face.
I don't have it. I was like, what was that?
Resting view face.
It was like,
Yeah.
it felt like a setup.
Yeah.
It was. I think they just
Right?
wanted us all to do
It was,
what we do.
They
it was
wanted a moment.
setup.
Yeah, it's
and
all
they
right.
got the
Listen.
I gave them the moment.
I have nothing but love and respect for the people of the Academy. I want to point that out there.
Oh, and as a matter of fact,
Yes.
I understand that the new nominations may be coming out. In
I've
the
heard
next
that as
couple of
well.
weeks.
Yes.
And so I would be honored to come back and present to The View.
What a great moment it would be if this time you presented and we did win. And then,
Yes.
this would go viral, I bet.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if they let you
I
present?
gotta practice my
Ooh.
fate. I would like to present something.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
You could present Stars Award.
I would
Wouldn't that be?
like
How
to
about
do
that? I like that very
Yes.
much.
Right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be special.
Yes.
very special.
All right, so we have lots of things to look forward
Hint,
to.
hint.
All right, so Star, like Sonny, as we mentioned, you are an attorney, a lawyer. When you were in law school and practicing, did you ever have the idea that you wanted to transition into television someday? We've talked about this with Sonny a little bit. Was that ever on the radar for you?
No, and in reality, I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice.
No.
I thought that being a prosecutor was like the pinnacle of my performance art, if you will,
Right.
as it related to the law. Because I don't know how you feel, Sonny, but I have always felt that the transition to television was easier because we were
Sure.
trial lawyers.
Absolutely.
And I always tell people that it's really just trading one jury in for another.
That's all it is.
My jury of 12, I'm performing for them the same way on camera. We are. I mean, and in theory and in hope, because we work in journalism and we work in law, you still bring that same level of integrity and authenticity.
And it's
Right.
the same exact skill set.
100%. So although we perform in television, as long as we keep that same level of integrity and authenticity,
And facts.
because facts
the law.
matter,
Right.
at least the way we were trained.
Exactly.
Facts matter. That's been an easier transition for me. I love live TV for that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really proud that in all the years that I did The View and legal commentary, I've never had to come on television the following day and correct a legal fact,
Oh yeah, no.
because I take it
Because
so
you take
seriously.
it seriously and you do the research and you do the work because
Yes.
that's how we're trained.
100%.
Yeah.
Because also for those that don't know about law school, inside baseball, like this is
Yeah,
how
no,
a
please.
sausage is
Yeah.
made. When you are in a lecture hall with a law professor and you are called on, you better have the sites ready.
And have done the work.
And done the work.
and because the first day of law school, actually, at least at Notre Dame, we had assignments for every single class, 50 pages of reading for every single class and a case study. And on the first day of criminal law, Professor G. Robert Blakey, who wrote the RICO statute, I later became his research assistant, called my name. First day of class. And I said,
Get
he
ready.
said, Asuncion Cummings. And I went, oh, God. And he said, no, not God, Asuncion Cummings. And we had to stand up.
Yep, same here.
You had to stand up and respond. And imagine in front of your peers, you get it wrong. Now you're the dum-dum that doesn't get invited to any of the study groups.
No.
And those study groups are extremely important. So you learn to know the facts cold, you learn to do the work, you learn to do the research. And I think you probably prepared for this show the way I prepare. I watch everything, I read everything.
100%.
You have to be prepared.
And
at
it
all times.
helps that the law school skill that I developed, the photographic memory. It
Yes,
really
it
does
helps.
help.
Right. I'd imagine.
And I do
I
see
have that too.
Yeah, it's weird.
Huh.
I can recall almost word for word.
That's great.
Something you've seen.
Right.
I may not remember where I saw it, but I know I read it.
Uh-huh.
And I know I saw it. But my producer, Kristen, is great. She finds it. I don't know how she does it.
If I can give you 3 or 4 words from what I saw,
Yeah.
nowadays with Google, you
That's
can
true,
find
they
it.
find
Yeah,
it.
I mean, when you were
And
doing the
that's
show in the beginning, it was just a whole different research was a whole different animal
100%.
here.
And
Yeah.
I had somebody that I could call on if I needed
Right.
Yeah.
for some legal research. And we took it very, very seriously. That's the thing that Barbara does not get the credit for enough, in my personal opinion. You know, with all the conversation about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, she created diversity, equity, and inclusion with The View.
Right.
all
sure
those
did.
years ago. And
did.
and it wasn't that she was being conscious. She just felt that a table is not a complete table unless you included different opinions, thoughts, experiences, generations,
Yeah.
backgrounds at that table. And
yeah.
that was her creation.
It's
so
why the
smart.
show exists now.
Right.
It's
I
the
agree.
way it was put together that way is why it really seems almost innovative in 2020,
Right.
2025,
Yeah.
which is crazy. It's really genius. Her and Bill. I mean,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So we asked this of all the OGs, but what are the lessons that Barbara taught you that you still kind of take with you?
Well, probably the first and foremost lesson is don't let anybody sit at your seat at the table because you give people options. I swear to God. She said that. Only BW.
See,
would say
Brian,
that.
that's why I don't like anyone to fill in for me.
Yeah.
And yet you're still taking off next week. For
I
the fun.
mean,
No.
Because my son's graduating from
You
college.
have to. I'm telling you, that came from BW.
And I've asked him not to have someone, actually, you can sit in my seat. Will you do that?
I'm taping next week.
Yeah, sorry.
Divorce court. Got to go back to court.
It'll be fine. No one's taking your chair.
No one's taking your chair, but that's what BW said. But
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
I know, after all these years. And
Yeah,
then
you watch someone, you're like, hey, they're pretty good. Yeah.
because you give people options.
Yeah.
And people don't often know they have options.
Right.
Yeah.
And you might provide them there.
Yeah.
And then she also taught me as a interviewer, probably one of my greatest skills is the follow-up question based on listening. So we, on The View, we prepare with the questions.
Yeah.
And because it's such a tight time and a turnaround, you don't often get the opportunity for the follow-up question. But when you're doing a one-on-one interview, you should not be so focused on what your next question is on the list, but listen to what your interview subject is saying, because they will often provide you with the opening for the follow-up.
Yeah.
And that comes directly from Barbara. And I use that skill now. It's really probably one of my greatest assets. It's what I get complimented on the most in my interviewing skills.
It's such a different skill set doing a one-on-one interview and doing a table interview too. It's
Yeah.
much harder at the table, I think.
Ooh,
Because
honey, the table is hard.
yeah.
The table is hard. I mean, I worked with Barbara, definitely not as much as you did, but I worked with her a couple times. And I
Yeah.
remember the very first time, I'm so used to writing my own stuff, my own opening statements, my own closing arguments, that I was given a question, but I changed the whole thing. She saw me change again. She said, "Can I look at that, please?" And she said, "Oh, you made it better." Okay. And I was like walking on air.
Yeah, I bet.
Forever.
Yeah.
And that's one of the lessons that sort of she taught me, was that even if I'm working with a producer, you have to use your own voice.
That's great.
And to trust that gut. Like, you know, I wouldn't say it like this.
Yep.
Or I think this is more interesting. Or I think this would be off-putting. This wouldn't come from me. And so I probably drive most of the producers crazy. I just edit questions like crazy.
But that
just
becomes
do.
authentically Sunny.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what you're known for. And I
Yeah.
think that's the unique part about sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Is when you don't try to be any other co-host. I was asking Summer, I think we're up to 24 now that we've
I think
had.
it's 24 coasts. And I was actually, when you were talking about the way you approach these things, and it is very similar to how I see Sunny doing it. I think I've worked with actually a fair number of them by now. But the best View hosts are naturally curious. It's things that they are engaged. They aren't looking for the next question. They're listening. What other things do you think, because as you guys know, and we're talking about people just sitting down at this table, it's not easy.
No.
It's
No.
very, very hard. to do.
I can tell you the other piece of good advice that came actually from an ABC person.
Yeah.
Was Regis Philbin. He was one of our first guests ever on The View.
And a genius.
And a genius.
Notre Dame grad.
But he said to us, let your guests shine and talk during the segment.
Yes.
Because you're on every single day. This is their moment. And
Smart.
I've always remembered that, especially when I'm moderating a panel of experts or celebrities or movie stars or whatever. Let them shine. Get out of the way.
I agree.
And ask the question and get out of it and let them let their answer shine. And that came from Regis. And
Right.
so you can take a lot of really good advice from old school people, but don't be misled. Sitting around that table is an earned seat also. That's why I say very strongly, and I mean it from the heart, we can talk about each other, the 24 of us, but none of you better ever.
Yeah.
No one understands what it's like. And Star told me this a long time ago. She said, you are part of, we're both members of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So
Yes, of
we're
course.
our true sorority sisters.
Yes.
But she said, you are a member of a sorority now, a different kind of sorority, but you're one of a few. And only View co-hosts really understand what this experience is like. You lose
100%.
your anonymity. You are very vulnerable because you're giving your take on things that otherwise you probably shouldn't even be talking about publicly.
Right.
Like things that people don't talk about at dinner parties.
No.
We're talking about in front of 3 million people.
All the
so
time.
It's all the time. So and people, you're in there their living rooms or their
Bedrooms,
kitchens, bedrooms
bathrooms.
every single day, and they really know you because
Yes.
if you're authentic, they do know you.
You're bringing your whole self to it.
Your family, everything,
And you make yourself vulnerable to
Right.
criticism. And now with
Yes.
social media, which is a bit more
yeah.
than obviously that I experienced. But I actually was very interested. You all had the whole conversation today on the show about weight loss
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
choices. And I thought, what a
Yeah.
full circle moment for me
Yeah.
to be in a dressing room listening to you all have a conversation. Whereas 20 years ago, it was shameful to be an
Isn't that
overweight
something?
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something that the late night host made tremendous
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
fun with.
It
People,
was stigmatized.
very much so. And
Yeah.
I got so hugely criticized, as you all are aware, because I did not share my entire journey.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that I followed my doctor's advice and not the public's advice,
Right.
because the doctors really said to me, until you do the work on yourself to know why you have an addictive personality and you can't get control of your weight, you won't be successful in this, even if you use surgery
Yeah.
to jumpstart it.
Wow.
Because I actually had to lose the weight in my head
Yes.
before I could lose it
Right.
on my body. And because I took that advice and because I listened to myself and my doctors, it's 22 years and I've kept the weight off.
You look
Yeah,
fantastic.
you look great.
I mean, that is not something that
Yeah.
people can fully appreciate.
Yeah.
That how hard it is to really change your lifestyle and your life.
and to do it in the public eye.
Yeah.
And to do it publicly.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we talk about it because it's still a conversation about shame. It's still a conversation about even with these drugs, which, on the one hand, yes, everyone's on them. On the other hand, no, everyone isn't on them.
No,
and
a lot of people can't afford
They
it.
a lot of people
afford
can't
it.
afford it. A lot of people don't want to admit that they're on them.
Yes.
and
Which,
that's
by
okay.
the way, that's everybody's choice.
Yeah, that's
It
the
is
thing.
everyone's choice.
It's your business. You tell folk what you want to tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to support you
Right.
in your health journey.
But
That's
there's a
just
lot
me.
of probing questions. A lot of people want to know.
Yeah.
That's the other
Well,
conversation.
you know what,
know.
Brian? Not for nothing, but people in hell want ice water. They don't get it. So just because you want to know something
Head
don't
start.
mean
100%
you
true.
got it. But
Right.
understand, when you invite people into your life, they're gonna want to know more,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just have to be able to set down what your boundaries are.
Right.
And I guess at 63 years old, I know my
You know.
boundaries.
Well, I think that's one of the things about being a View co-host. I think the viewers can smell inauthenticity.
Yes.
And so, in a way, when you are on this show, you have invited people into your life.
Very
And
much so.
It took me a minute to acquiesce to that and accept it. You
Yeah.
know, that now I made the choice. I used to say I made the choice to be a public person. My family didn't. But in reality,
I can't think
my
of a
family's public now,
successful
too.
View host that was inauthentic. I don't think
It
there's been
doesn't
one
work.
of those 24 people.
It does
that,
not
that were
work.
here for multiple seasons.
Doesn't
and
work.
Right.
Connected with the audience. You know, it's
Doesn't
always
work.
people like the two of you, like a Sherry Shepherd, that give all of themselves
Yeah.
there, and
you can't care.
No,
And
You
the
just can't
upside,
care.
the ups, downs, and sideways. And you know, Whoopi was, as usual, so on it today.
Yeah.
She knows me better than anyone. She and my mother shared the same date of birth,
Oh,
November 13th.
I didn't know that.
So that's why she and I have a very special, long-standing, 3-decade relationship. And Whoopi said, once I got out of worrying about what other people were telling me and knowing that it was coming from a pure place in myself,
Yep.
I found myself and my heart is open.
Yeah.
And only Whoopi would be so intuitive
Yeah.
to know exactly that is exactly what has
She
occurred.
is very insightful.
She's the best.
Yep.
Oh
She's
my
very
goodness. She's the
insightful.
best. The very best in the world.
I want to talk to you about divorce court because
Ooh, I can't go back to work.
congratulations. This is
Thank you.
exciting stuff.
I'm still surprised people think they're gonna get there and lie.
Sis, first of all, we introduced polygraph examinations last season.
Don't they know that
but
that's
I
a part
am
of it?
I am a lie detector.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
You get trained to do that as a prosecutor.
That's what I do. I interview. I mean, come on, y'all. We're doing divorce court We're doing people on relationships. I used to interview murderers.
Yes.
And
And
cross-examine
and you know
murderers.
they're lying.
And I know when a witness
everybody's
is lying.
guilty.
Everyone
Anyway.
thinks they're smarter than they are. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
my
And
gosh.
the best part about this season of Divorce Court is introducing what I call my investigative team. I'm now doing data recovery, and I was saying
I'm saying that's crazy.
that is so you give over your phone.
They're required to give the phone.
Right, but you have to agree. I mean,
Right.
we don't require it.
Yeah, but they
Yeah,
agree.
you agree to give over your phone and your password, and literally that is all you need.
Right.
And they know
They
that-
think
that-
they covered their tracks.
They
and
think they
didn't.
cover their tracks.
That is
yes, but
insane to me.
anything that is on the internet that you put in your cloud exists.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest part about it is when you see this season, starting to air next fall, my bosses are like, "Girl, you never gonna get anybody to come back on this show because you've been catching people in lies all the time." This is the dream job. This is the
You're
job.
having
I think
fun.
even y'all would agree. Even
Yeah.
as much fun as I used to have on The View and love the girls, Star Jones as Judge Star,
Perfect.
You're loving it.
is the dream
Yeah.
job of life.
Would you ever go back to practicing law, you think?
You know, I
You ever get
took
the
the law
itch?
so seriously.
Yeah.
I'd be worried that in a courtroom they'd be too focused on the Star Jonesness of it
Oh.
and not the lawyer. And I think clients deserve my full attention as a lawyer.
Yeah.
I think that the jury would deserve to not be distracted by the so-called celebrity. I just take the law so seriously. I wish
That's a
people
good
in the
point.
public eye took law, democracy, rules
Yeah.
seriously enough
Right.
and to get out of their
Yeah.
own way because
Yeah.
the public deserves to be able to rely on some things.
And
Absolutely.
especially rely on the law.
And that for me,
the
I mean, it
foundation of
really does
everything.
mean something to me.
I get the itch
You do?
all the time.
You know, my itch has been glamour and romance. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
That's what I have been loving. My husband actually turned to me when I was leaving this morning. He's going to some appointments and he said, "Oh, you look good, babe."
Oh.
There you go.
So I walked
see?
out there feeling like money. What?
You
know?
I say that, and my wife
He's-
rolls her eyes and says, "What do you
No.
want?" And then I get nothing.
And he
for that.
just said it
Ricardo is
casually.
he is a well, he's Puerto Rican.
Okay.
You knew
So-
she was gonna say
so-
that.
That's why I lose that.
He's
Yeah.
Baby.
Boricua. He's right there.
She's like, he's Boricua, so there you go.
So that's a
right.
part of it. But he's just really a good guy. He's really
Yeah.
sweet. He's very handsome.
He's kind, and that's
Yeah.
what I wanted. And
Manny loves him. My husband loves him.
That's because they dudes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Right.
what I like.
So, as the judge of divorce court, what's advice for newlyweds and a romantic?
Yes, yes.
I would say spend time together.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest things that happened to me early on in my marriage, we got married in 2018. The pandemic happened in 2020.
Yeah, that's right.
We were forced to be together pretty much all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And
And it made your marriage stronger.
100%.
Mine
That's
too.
great.
Some
Stronger.
people, it had the opposite effect.
Yes.
But mine became so much stronger. And remember, we were brand spanking new.
Right.
Yeah.
Thrown together all the time. But also, I saw a compassionate part of Ricardo that other people may not have ever seen. I have heart disease, as everybody
Yeah.
knows. And I was considered a vulnerable person when
Yeah.
COVID
Oh, that's
first
right.
happened.
Immunocompromised.
I was compromised. And so what they did not want was for me to get COVID and have to then end up on a respirator.
Yeah.
God forbid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that could have had a huge impact on my health. And so my husband was overly protective
Yeah.
in not allowing me outside and in wrapping me
Yeah.
in sort of a cocoon
Yeah.
of fun and activity in our own home in a safe space.
Yeah.
And then he would take me out for a drive. We would go through the garage.
Yeah.
That's
I would
great.
have the mask, the
thing.
whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was sort of insistent because
He was taking
he
care of
wanted
you.
to take care of me.
Yeah.
And I just realized
That's
that's what
nice.
I always wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody that I could just exhale
Right.
Yeah.
and not have to think of it all. And he does do that for
Yeah.
me. That's true.
That's I think the magic in it. My husband's immunocompromised as well.
I know. And I know he
And-
lost parents during
and he lost his
COVID.
parents during COVID, and we were so protective over him. Like I wouldn't let any boxes. This is when we didn't know enough about COVID.
Baby, we were wiping down.
I was like, do not bring that into the house. Manny is inside.
Yes.
I was outside with gloves and
And you
cleaning
didn't,
everything.
anything that came into your house from outside takeout, you
Yeah.
had to transfer it
That's
out
right.
of
I
things.
just didn't know. You know,
didn't know.
we were all panicked.
But what she was doing for Manny, what Ricardo was doing for me,
Yeah.
it was bonding. And so to
It
get
is.
back to your question, advice for newlyweds is spend that quality time together. And for romance, take care of each other.
yeah, yeah.
Take care
And
of
laugh.
each other. Mm-hmm.
Have fun.
That's it.
That's good. I
We
like
have
that.
fun.
And then, you said romance and glamour, and I can't help but notice you've got some things with you here. Let's
It's
talk about
so
this.
This is all I have
glamorous.
left. And let me tell you why. Because my former
Mm-hmm.
colleagues
Say it.
stole everything. When I tell you
One in particular.
well, she the OG. She gets to do
Joy
it.
Behar took an eyeliner that I wanted, and honestly, she's not going to use it
When
as much
I tell you these,
as I would use
these
it.
two are hilarious.
They are very
They
funny.
are now. We're still supposed to be on camera.
Yeah.
Joy thinks I don't see her. Take the eyeliner off
She
the
put it
table
in her
and slip it
pocket.
in her pocket.
And I had my eye on it.
And she's over here on this side of me going.
And so
and
then
then
I
the
grabbed
first
the
thing,
lipstick.
she's like, I'm taking this.
I took the lipstick because Joy
And-
took the eyeliner.
And I now turn. The cameras go down for the break.
Right.
This one over here, Sonny goes, you really gonna use that eyeliner? First thing out of her mouth. Okay, because she knows
I'm going
Joy.
to use it more.
And it was hilarious. And so, and Joy took the eyeliner. She took the eyelashes.
she took the lashes.
Right, which is, I'm
She
so
doesn't know
proud.
how to put those lashes on.
I'm
They're
so
gorgeous,
proud.
though.
It's everything that I wanted. I wanted something glamorous. I also wanted something practical that you can take your lashes off,
and
reuse
you know that's
them.
why Joy took them, because they're
Yeah.
so pretty.
Yes,
Joy
and
likes
then-
pretty things.
She
and
does.
you've got your crystal, your starness of it, and Sonny gets to keep
And
her.
this is like a beautiful color. It's like a gold lip gloss. So I'll wear this a lot.
Yes, that's champagne.
Champagne.
Yes, leading lady is the red, and prosecco
Oh.
is my
Right.
signature clear color.
Sonny enjoys
Yes.
the Prosecco of all kinds.
That's right.
Sure
And you'll notice that the
do.
names have to do with my favorite cocktail.
Yeah,
Yes,
as they
I like
should.
a little
As they
champ.
should.
Little champs, champagne, prosecco, and rosé.
They're really beautiful stuff.
This is a really great time, and I miss my mom. We were
yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
Sonny's aunt,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
we so sadly lost.
I miss her.
And how it's important for us to communicate to the women in our life.
Absolutely.
And so I really appreciate you all having me on to especially talk about us taking care of each other, because that goes back to those 24 women
I know.
at the View that we can talk about each other, but y'all can't talk about
That's
us.
right.
Yeah. Because we do check in on each
we
other.
do.
I got a text message from Sherry Shepard today.
Yeah.
Like people do check in on each other.
If something is going on in one of our
Yeah.
lives, and not to be intrusive or nosy.
No.
Yeah.
But just say, yo,
How's it going?
How you doing? What's
Yeah.
happening, Road Dog? We send this to each
Yeah.
other. I send a hey Soror. Just
Yeah.
that.
Just
Just
how's it
to
going?
let you know, if you need, we got your back.
That's
You know,
great.
and that's a
It's
big
special.
thing. It really is, and I love that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be doing the Letters to My Mother campaign this year, which
Yeah.
reminds us that we're responsible for the other women in our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
we
your
are.
screenings.
Yeah.
Get your heart checked.
All the things.
All
Absolutely.
the things, and I think about your family,
Yeah.
and so
Thank you.
you're in my heart as always.
I know.
Always.
Before we go, I want to switch back to talking about Joy one more time.
She would go as usual.
As
honey.
usual. Well, one thing we were talking about a little bit before the camera started rolling is she legendarily does not hold a grudge. Very different than Sonny, who holds nothing but grudges.
I remember.
You
do-
remember.
Yeah. Do you? But you said this was the case with her from the beginning.
From the beginning. First of all, Joy don't remember half the stuff.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of the best things about
Right?
it.
She don't remember.
She doesn't.
No.
And I think it may come from being a teacher in her past and a comedian at her heart.
Yeah.
Joy has this unique ability to find the funny
She does.
in almost everything.
Yes, yes.
And I like that.
Yes.
We famously, and I think you used that clip in her 25th anniversary, we famously had an argument the first time we were ever, Joy and I.
Yeah.
Wow.
The first time we were ever on camera together during the audition.
Wow.
At the Essex House.
At the Essex House. And it's one of the things that Barbara loved about the dynamic.
Wow.
That we could have a complete disagreement, but in words that I now say, but we knew how to disagree without being disagreeable.
Yes. That's the trick.
And that's the trick.
That is the trick, and never take anything personally.
Yeah.
Which is why she doesn't hold a grudge.
Exactly.
That plus she don't remember nothing.
It's hardwired into her. But thank God. I mean, no, there's been days like, oh, I got into it with Joy yesterday. I got to go see her. And then she's like, hey, Brian, what's going on? Can you fix
She
my
just
iPad?
forgot.
No.
She doesn't.
Yeah, she has no.
I think she just leaves it at the table, or she
Right.
leaves it in the room, and
It's a healthier way
It is.
to
so
It's
exist.
100% better
Much better way to
It's so
than
healthy.
angsting over things or getting worked
no,
up. Or,
and I mean,
Well, that's biblical too. I mean, love doesn't hold grudges. You know,
and also forgiveness
I gotta
is
get
for you.
better.
You got to do it. Get rid
Yeah.
of it.
yeah, I gotta get better.
You know, I just love being able to come back, sit at the table.
You're always welcome. It
And-
goes
yes,
without saying.
especially if I'm out, just come in. You know how to do the job. You're the OG. You paved the way for the legal expert on the show.
Absolutely.
And guess what?
She should be the person that comes. Okay.
and then guess
If
what,
she's
Sonny?
available, she's always welcome.
And then I will get on my plane and fly the heck
Exactly.
out.
Because
Okay?
you know I got another kid to put through
Yeah,
college.
Sonny would
and-
just like people that have other jobs.
And don't want her seat. Okay? Don't want her seat.
Yeah, we'll check on like Serena Williams, like people that are very busy.
Yeah, definitely. She got
Beyonce,
right.
Beyonce,
Yeah,
yeah,
those
yeah.
people.
Those people.
Yeah.
Let
Those
them
people.
Come on
Yeah,
in.
uh-huh.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and give complete advice. You can't have none of these newfangled lawyer chicks come sitting up in that chair.
Right?
Okay.
We not having that.
Thank you.
No.
I'll see what I can do.
There you go.
All right, well, thank you for joining me today, Star and Sonny. Make sure you watch Star on Divorce Court weekdays. Check your local listings. And for more information about Star Jones's beauty, check out our episode description, and we'll put a link in there too.
Yay.
It's
right.
really pretty.
Thank
All right.
you. Where's
Tomorrow
my
on the
husband?
show, we have President Joe Biden and the former First Lady Jill Biden. So tune in for that. And then we'll see you afterwards on Behind the Table with Anna Navarro. Thank you.